I'm going to go straight to the point. In the city of Buffalo, state of New York, you have medical transportation companies that have been in place for many, many years. This has allowed them to grow into an astronomical rate. You have several different companies throughout the Western New York region. But what it appears is that most of these companies are owned by the owners of Buffalo Transportation, the owners of Aries Transportation, LGM, Pioneer, Buffalo Transportation, all owned by the same person, subcontracted by the same corporation, the same entity. Um, if you take a look, these companies are always hiring. I believe that 99.9% of their failure rate in the hiring process is that they're hiring people based on what they can see. They're not hiring people based on, like, the people who hire and fire in these medical transportation companies are, and let's just make this clear. They nothing ass nobodies. Somebody that's coming from Williamsville, Amherst, okay? And in these places, these people don't know nobody. The people that in Amherst, Williamsville, these people are nobodies. These people are not anybody that anybody's going to respect. They're not anybody who's capable of digging up, real street background, history, credibility of these people that they're hiring. So, you know, I'm not going to blame the medical transportation service companies in Western New York for what their employees are doing, of course, because there's some limited liability there. So the corporation is not responsible for what the individual does. Okay. However, on a larger scale, the corporation is responsible for the actions taken by their employees. Okay. So simply put, you look at Buffalo Transportation. Okay. You look at, as a matter of fact, if you guys go to RESNASH318 right here on YouTube, you're going to find a video that's going to contain a conversation with a dispatcher at Buffalo Transportation. His name is Arson. You're going to find that video, and you're also going to find in that video that the dispatcher who was sitting in the office during COVID-19, okay, barking, yelling, screaming, playing games, okay. This guy Arson, who works as a dispatcher uh, coordinator at Buffalo Transportation, there's a very long conversation there. I encourage anybody with any kind of interest to go take a look at that video. In that video, you're going to hear this Buffalo Transportation dispatcher say that his job is better than the driver's jobs. Now, mind you, none of us during COVID-19 got any type of money, okay, any type of money for being on the front line. So if Igor Finkelstein actually received some money, he never gave it to the drivers. He never gave it to the assistants. So what I'm saying is these Buffalo medical transportation companies, just like all across the United States, these people, uh, they're into the habit of taking people's money, bilking the government for money, and never returning one penny to anybody else. So when you have these medical transportation companies that are hiring pedophiles to drive your handicapped loved one to a doctor's office, when you have these medical transportation companies hiring, convicted rapists, as assistants, aides, drivers for these companies without doing their due diligence on these drivers. Okay, because they're failing to do this, although they have the resources to do this, your mom could be driven by a sex offender, a registered sex offender, or a person charged with a sex offense, okay, to her medical appointment, and she may be handicapped, unable to defend herself. Now, most of these vehicles are equipped with cameras. However, sometimes these cameras don't work. And because the government does not take all of these vehicles off the road to inspect them properly, your loved one could be driven to their doctor's appointment or picked back up from their doctor's appointment by a registered sex offender or someone charged with a sex offense or someone who the night previous was drinking all night long. There is a big need to overhaul the way medical transportation services in Western New York, the state of New York, as well as the United States of America. There needs to come time for a big overhaul. Now, I just made a post that most of you may have seen if you're subscribed, okay? And okay, this post shows that a medical transportation driver was arrested and charged for animal abuse. Now, a medical transportation driver, aide, whatever the case might be, this person is supposed to be of high standard. However, because the corporations treat you like you are a low standard, you get subpar service. These people are not getting paid enough money to be taking your loved one from, the top porch of in a wheelchair downstairs and into a van, load them up, sign them in, buckle them down, and then pull off to unbuckle them, log them out, and then go to the next one. They're not getting paid enough. These corporations specialize in making a lot of money, but they don't specialize in taking care of their employees. So because Buffalo Transportation does not take care of its employees, there are no employees. There's always a shortage. It's not that the business is so big. No, it's that the vehicles are so raggedy. He just buys a bunch of junk vehicles. They may appear to be clean and they may be solid and sturdy, but they're not, you know, they're not, you know, in alignment with profit. They're in alignment with loss. Big E350 Econoline vans for wheelchairs and stretchers, but you're complaining about paying the gas, for the drivers to be able to take care of their daily task. You don't want them to drive the vehicle around at nighttime when they go home, but you want them to come in first thing in the morning, okay, and drive for hours on hours on hours on end. And then when they're done, come back, drop off the keys, get in their car 3-4 o'clock in the morning and go home. This is ridiculous. Aries is no different. Okay. Uh, Previously, I posted a video of an Aries driver, a medical transportation driver who appeared to be senile. I did have a conversation with him. He appeared to have a childlike disposition, like somebody manipulated him because he had a license to drive a medical transportation vehicle. He was feeding the birds. He was doing this regularly. Okay. He was regularly showing up, okay, in a parking lot to bring pests to the area. You just feed the birds in a place that you don't live, bringing these birds here, do as you may. These medical transportation companies throughout the state of New York, as well as the United States of America, okay, the United States government has gotten really lazy. They're keeping these companies in business, paying the bills of these companies for these companies, allowing these companies to get loans, grants, whatever. But is anybody asking the drivers what's really going on? No. Is anybody continuously checking up on the background of these drivers? No. So essentially, you could be a good boy, get a job as a medical transportation driver or assistant, and then 3 days later, catch 2 DWIs back to back. You're not supposed to be driving. You post bail every time you made it to work. Now you get to work, drive the van. Nobody's paying attention. Do you understand? This is consistent. There was one time here in Buffalo, New York, where Buffalo Transportation Service, Buffalo Transportation allowed their driver to go to jail and face whatever they had to face in court over an unregistered or improperly insured vehicle. that didn't have anything to do with the driver. They said it was his responsibility to check all of the stickers, or it could have been an inspection sticker. This is ridiculous. You understand? So with that being said, yeah, let me see something here. Okay, I will search it up. Sure. They make Ultradham? Hi. Like, hi. Okay, Nikki. Yeah. So because these medical transportation companies are just moving forward, barreling forward, um, without anything to stop them, is essentially the reason why, every single time you have a loved one who has to go on a medical transportation trip, you'll notice that they are never picked up on time, never dropped off on time, nor are they ever nice when you call to find out. They'll tell you a lie. They'll be like, oh, we sent it back to Medicaid. We'll reschedule. We'll give you a call back when they reschedule. This is a lie. I have watched these medical transportation companies lie time after time after time after time after time after time. Why are these medical transportation companies moving the way they are moving? They'll hire all of the black people that come to them. Yeah, they definitely want that tax break. But ask these black employees how they're being treated at these medical transportation companies. Always complaining, we can't give you a raise because medical or Medicaid doesn't give us raises. But you just bought 16 new vehicles. You can't give me a raise, but you bought 16 new vehicles. These are the type of jobs, that require the utmost care. You are basically cradling some of the most infirm people in the state in your arms as you drive them to another location. These medical transportation companies are going to keep playing this game till you got renegade employees to come back into the job and go postal, okay, because enough is enough. And then you're going to get these medical transportation companies that are going to start going in the news, okay? If you got a driver, if you have an employee, now mind you, Buffalo, New York, Mickey. Buffalo Transportation is a medical transportation company designed to transport people from point A to point B safely. They're supposed to have high standards, just like Aries Transportation, okay? They're supposed to have high standards. These high standards mean your drivers, your assistants, okay? These people have a good reputation, not only in the community, but, legally. All right. Now, I'm not saying that a person couldn't have committed a crime 10 years ago and now he's looking for employment. Do not give him a job. No, that would be prejudice. That would be discrimination. That would be unlawful. And you have so many of these I had somebody go to the medical transportation company for a job, and they told me about, and this is particularly at Buffalo Transportation, they told me how badly they were treated. They told me when they went to pick up a car, they was like damn near disrespected by whoever hands out the cars. It was just like a one big shit show. All right. Now, I've never heard any complaint like that from Aries, but when you look at the type of drivers that Aries has, they seem to get a driver, but lose a driver just as fast. Like nobody's going to do it. You have some people that are indoctrinated that work for these medical transportation companies. Indoctrination includes Stockholm syndrome. What is Stockholm syndrome? Stockholm syndrome is a mental disease or defect where a person who has been kidnapped, right, will become loyal, faithful, and helpful towards their captor. So now, when I spoke to a guy who worked at Aries Transportation, I asked him, I said, because, I said, do you want to drive taxis for me? You drive taxis for me, you'll get paid cash every day. Okay. You get paid cash every day. Do you want to drive? Oh, I've been in Aries for so and such amount of years and they treat me good. And yeah, but you're not making no money. What are you making? 12, 13, 14, 15, $16 an hour, $17 an hour? You're going to get $17 in 17 minutes working for me. Do you want to come? Oh no, I just been there so long. But any other driver that I bump into in traffic, they'd be like, sure, I'll come. You understand? This is because there is no competitive pay when it comes to medical transportation. There's no competitive pay. And because there's no competitive pay, you're going to go there. Yeah, sure. You're going to get a job. Yeah. Tell me how it feels 30 days after being employed, driving around that 10,000-pound vehicle. Tell me how it feels. Okay? And tell me if the money that you're making is lining up to the work that you're putting in. If I work at Aries or Buffalo Transportation Services, right? If I work at any one of these transport companies, me, commercial driver's license, okay, is needed. Me, if I worked at a medical transportation company and they asked me, how much money do you want an hour? At this point, I would be like, I need $40 an hour. You're not going to give it to me? That's fine, because I know I can make more than $40 an hour. Okay. So there's no need for me to work for you, and I can work less time. So if I can make $40 an hour, if you were to give me $20 an hour, okay, I would have to work an additional hour to get that money back. It's okay. I'll pass. All right. Now, these people that have these medical transportation companies where their companies are sliding downhill financially, they wonder why. Let me tell you why. You say $80,000 a year? Nah, okay, so watch this. If you feel like paying a driver who picks up your mama, who is crippled in a wheelchair, your daddy, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your daughter who may have came out of the womb with a deformity, your son who may come out with a deformity. If you think that a driver with a commercial driver's license or not a commercial driver's license, okay, somebody who you want to guarantee is going to give you no problems on the road. Number two, handle these people delicately, right? You need to pay them. Now, you might say $80,000 a year is too much. Yeah, you say that until your sister, who's disabled, gets in one of those medical transportation vehicles and gets raped. That has happened. You better Google that shit. Okay? You feel like that? That's fine. This is how come people are being abused in the back of those vans. This is how come people being left on a porch slobbering on themselves. They can't take care of themselves. Okay? Okay, your sister-in-law who births premature babies with a 10-year degree makes that. Guess what? If she got a 10-year degree and she making $80,000, I make more money than her. Stop while you ahead, okay? She got a 10-year degree. She makes $80,000 a year. She's very poor for 10 years of schooling, okay? Okay, $80,000 a year for a doctor, okay, means that she's working in a third world country somewhere. Because if she was a doctor in the United States of America, she would make $380,000 a year with a 10-year degree. So let me keep going forward, okay? And I don't think $40 an hour comes out to $80,000 a year, but even if it did, okay, like I said, if you have a premature baby that has to be medically transported, non-emergency transportation, okay? If you don't pay your driver, expect your baby to get manhandled. It's possible. Expect your 18-year-old niece who might be slow to get molested. It's possible. Like I said, look it up on Google and then you take it from there. Well, you live in Massachusetts. It's a Commonwealth state where you got a lot of people in Massachusetts with a lot of money. But Massachusetts is one of those places where everything that goes there stays there because it's surrounded by water. Nobody's driving that far into Massachusetts, and Massachusetts doesn't have anything for anybody to go travel there to. So naturally, a state like Massachusetts, people are going to make less money. I don't live in that state, and I'm not talking about that state. However, I'm pretty sure if you Google some of these concerns that I'm addressing right here and right now, you're going to see that they are very prevalent and real in your state. So here, giving you the benefit of the doubt, if your sister, mom, brother, cousin, aunt, uncle, whoever is making $80,000 a year with a 10-year degree in your state, then can you imagine what people making that burger? I don't even want to take a guess. Okay, so let me keep going. All right. If somebody in a position in Medicaid, if somebody in the federal government, if somebody in the General Services Administration doesn't pay attention to what's taking place inside these medical transportation companies, including the fly-by-night, try-me medical transportation companies, okay? If they don't do something, all right, because remember, it's less money on the street right now, less money in the employment sector right now, less money in the drug trade, okay? Because of all of this, you're going to see the upsurge, like you did during COVID-19, of people using medical transportation providers to taxi them to a hospital nearby where they really want to go. So they book the trip, okay? Go to the hospital, but don't go in. Go where they going. Then come back, okay? Call the transportation service, say I need a pickup, and get driven home. So because the medical transportation company is just the in-between, the medical transportation company is involved heavily in fraud. Now, it's not fraud that they know about, okay, because they won't know until Medicaid knows that fraud has been committed. What type of fraud? Transportation fraud. The fraud where you call a medical transportation company and you book a ride to go to a doctor's appointment, but there is no doctor's appointment, okay? Or you book a ride for an emergency room visit, but there is no actual visit. You get out, you go wherever you're supposed to go, and guess what? You got a free ride. After you guys do this to a company like Aries 10, 20, 30, 40 times, 10, 20, 30, 40 people, 10, 20, 30, 40 times in a week, once this occurs, okay, Medicaid is going to say, well, do we blame the medical transportation company or not? But what will happen is they will say, well, we're not paying the medical transportation company because this was fraud. Do you know what's going to happen after this occurs? You're going to see medical transportation companies fall off the map until a medical transportation company says, we're no longer providing emergency room visits 24 hours a day. Emergency room visits can occur Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So this way, Saturday and Sunday money, which is always scarce, okay? It's not a business day, so you don't have doctor's appointments. You have, trips that, involve, what is it? Diabetes, where they got to get like their blood cleaned, filtered, and replaced, back inside the body. Dialysis. You got dialysis, you have other things, but Saturday and Sunday, a smart company will say, we're not going to do ER visits. And if they don't do ER visits at all anyways, like, over the weekend, or if they don't have a weekend troop out there on call, well, this is how come one company is making more money than the other. Anytime a corporation says, we've always done it this way, there's no reason to change. That's when a company fails. One time I went for an interview when I was, climbing up the ladder of transportation. So I did taxi, I did medical transportation, I did emergency transportation, I did all types of transportation before I started my own transportation. Okay, so one thing happened to me when I went to a competitor to where I was working at, just to see. Not only did I go in with a professional attitude, but I went in with a professional mind state. The lady sitting behind the desk at this company, this white van company, she told me that she had been there for so long, hiring, firing. I think this is the same lady, Linda. Okay, Linda, Lydia or something. Okay, I think this is the same lady. I'm pretty positive. Not only did this lady have a negative attitude, but here, not only did she have a negative attitude and a negative approach during the interview, but she also acted like they didn't need the help. So when I asked where the boss was, I guess he was in Florida or he was away or not in the office at that time. I, I, I understand whoever this person is that owns this company is Italian. It's an Italian family-owned corporation. I guess you do the math, right? So whatever the situation was, guess what? I looked at this lady and stood up. I pointed my finger at her. I was like, you know what? Fuck you, man. You are a joke. You're lucky you don't work for me. Now, she didn't know who I was at that time, but I bet you she know now. Oh, I can guarantee you she know now. That she made one of the biggest mistakes in the world, okay, by addressing me in like a, well, you work at this company, we don't need your help. You are the biggest fool that anybody could hire. You want the people at the competitor's job. Okay, you want those employees. Okay, because if you break that if you break that corporation down, you become the big boss hog. Aries Transportation got about 40 vehicles just sitting around. Are you kidding me? Just sitting around. You could be taking all of Buffalo Transportation's employees. They're tired. They fed up over there. And vice versa. Vice versa. The only reason why Aries don't got the kind of money Buffalo Transportation got is because Igor Finkelstein, I could tell you something. Yes, a lot of people, the first thing that people will say when they talk about the owner of Buffalo Transportation, they'll say he's a Jew. Yeah, he's a Jew. So what? What does that have to do with anything? So what, he's a Jew? Are you going to do something to him? Then leave him. Then what are you even bringing it up for? You ain't going to do shit to him. So be quiet, right? So we just going to leave that there. But that's the first thing people going to say, he's a Jew. But let me tell you something. He's a smart motherfucker. Dirty, underhanded. Can you trust him? You have to ask yourself that question, because he's good. He's good. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's good. I like him. I don't like him for no other reason than he's almost as savvy as me. He's from another country, but this is why I give him the respect that I give him, because he's in a position to do better, know better, and he does better, and he knows better. Now, I'm not saying that he apply everything that he know where it's supposed to go, but he's a very hardworking man. I can say that. I'm not saying that he's not a criminal, because he is. I'm not saying that he doesn't do dirtbag shit. I mean, everybody does, okay? What I will say is that he's a cutthroat owner-operator. Now, legally, sure, people are going to say he's not the owner because of legal, say whatever you want to say. That's Igor shit, okay? Now, when you go to Aries Transportation, you will see a big difference in the way things are moving. Buffalo Transportation got more business than they can handle 99% of the time, but they have more business than they can handle because 99% of their employees is drunks, crackheads overnight, sniffing coke all night. They got drivers that stay out on the road 24 hours a day. This is impossible, but they sniffing coke and they don't drug test you at Buffalo Transportation. Bada boom, bada bang. Same thing at Aries. Bada boom, bada bang. You see what I'm saying? You got drug addict drivers, and nobody cares. Why? Because the business is coming in so much, we need to keep pushing the vehicles out there. So from an owner-operator standpoint, it's like, go to work and, don't get caught. Drive fast, don't crash, okay? It's the motto. But this needs to come to an end. See, I think it would be better for these medical transportation companies. You got 50 cars out here. How many are being used daily? 32? Okay. Find 32 of the best vehicles and give me a list of the leftovers, all right? Now, it doesn't matter at this current moment that we have these vehicles sitting here. It doesn't matter. They're out of service. So that means I have to get, okay, about 18 drivers to get inside these vehicles. How can I get 18 drivers to get inside these vehicles and make the most profit? Okay, maybe not medical transportation. Well, guess what I found out? Well, it doesn't matter what I found out, but once I had to sit down and ask myself this question, I was able to start pulling business, from different areas, different organizations, and was able to turn something into a profit when I was presented with this very same situation. So when I look at Aries and I look at Buffalo Transportation, I look at all of these, I drive by these places every now and then just to see, how big or how small they're getting. And every now and then I get a chance to talk to some of the drivers. Most of them I know. So I'll be like, you still work here? How much money are you getting paid an hour? Oh, I'm on commission. They want me to go hourly. Why aren't you paying taxes? So wait a minute. They convinced you to not pay taxes to take a compensation. You better not get hurt while you're working on this job as an independent contractor. Let me tell you, because I know. Yeah, you don't want to get hurt on this job. You don't want to get hurt. Okay. You definitely don't want to get hurt. So, yeah, these medical transportation companies need to do a better job at I agree with you when you say that's crazy. They should sue the individual or reduce their coverage for fraud. Yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of things that I agree with. There's a lot of things I don't agree with. But I need everybody to understand from a owner-operator perspective, this is what's going on. If you have 72 vehicles that are launching every single day, 72, not 17, 72. All right. If you got 72 vehicles that are launching, this is a big operation. You got to track these vehicles from the time they leave to the time that they return. This is all done through a system. Okay. So you're tracking these drivers. They don't track the speed. You could walk into Buffalo Transportation. They have a board where you can see exactly how fast all of the drivers are driving. If you stand there and you look at these drivers, you're going to see people doing almost 90 miles an hour on the 33. You're going to see people doing more than 90 miles an hour going back to Pennsylvania, coming back to Buffalo, going to Syracuse, going to Rochester. You're going to see people moving that fast. Now tell me something. How come these corporations aren't doing anything about that? And these people have somebody damn near dead in the back on a stretcher. Can you explain this to me? I posted a picture of a Buffalo Transportation wheelchair vehicle. It could be a stretcher vehicle. It's a silver colored Ford Econoline E350 where they crash into a pole. Can you tell me, okay, how a commercial driver can crash into a pole? How does this happen? How does this happen? How did Buffalo Transportation hire a driver who crashed head on into a pole? So, somebody told me what happened. I rolled by because it was, the vehicle was placed in an area where it wasn't, it was not, restricted from the public. I took a picture of this shit. I said, would you ride in a vehicle owned by a company that has drivers crashing head on into a pole with somebody in the back of that vehicle? This stuff is a problem. And when you come from an owner-operator perspective, okay, these are problems that you would call like glitches in the matrix. Why? Because you can't foresee them, so therefore you can't stop them, okay? And the way transportation rolls is if it's a licensed driver, the police will arrive, they will tell us exactly what happened, and then we'll figure out the rest as this is all taking place. And the person responsible for tracking the vehicle's arson at Buffalo Transportation specifically, he's not doing that. He's eating food, surfing the net. He's a hard worker. I've seen him work hard. Would I keep him? No. He lacks respect for the employees. I will get rid of him. I'm sorry. You would not be able to work at nothing that belongs to me, whether you was Igor's sister's husband or not, Gary's sister's husband or not. It doesn't matter to me. You would not work for me. You would not work for me because you lack respect for the people that's the backbone of the company. And if I own the company and he worked for me and he did that, I'm not going to lie to you. I'll pay you good to dispatch, right? I'll slap shit out of him. Yeah. You let somebody else come to me and tell me that you disrespecting them, and these people is out here Meals on Wheels and for people, picking up the elderly, the infirm, the people who can't move, the people that weigh 20 pounds and they 70 years old and they go into hospice. You fuck with another one of my drivers and you watch what happens next. I don't care. Better if you go call the police, let me beat your ass then. Now I'll call the police and get the fuck out. We'll call them for you. Get the fuck up out of here. Like, it's really that real. This is how serious medical transportation actually is. So today I saw somebody had sent me a picture of someone who was arrested for abusing an animal that works at Buffalo Transportation. They got arrested. They had on the Buffalo Transportation jacket, logo, insignia. Okay. But this person was incarcerated and charged, then convicted for animal abuse. Now, technically, this would not affect his job. Morally, it would. Legally, if this driver was to get caught up in something, guess what? If this aide was to get caught up in something, guess what? As soon as they unearth that this person already was charged with abuse on an animal, abuse on an elderly, abuse on the company then becomes liable because it's their responsibility to continuously maintenance and update this employee's profile. So if you guys want to really know what's going on, okay, with your loved ones when they have to travel, if you guys really have some genuine concern, okay, if your loved one come back to you and they tell you that they went on a medical transportation trip and they was abused, mishandled, maybe they played the music too loud, do not fear. Call into these medical transportation companies and talk to the owners. If you Google me, REESEIE, N is in never, ASH, LLC, you will see what the reviews and the ratings are of my transportation company. And on top of that, you will see that I'm number 3. I think number 2 is the Metro buses, or I could be number 3 and the Metro buses for the city is number 4. However, what you don't see is number 1 or number 2 is medical transportation providers. So I use my experience through the field to get where I am today so that my company can have the title, the logo, the credibility that it has today. And there's a lot of people that did everything they could thinking they was keeping me down, not understanding that I am the best that ever did it. Okay, they don't want to admit it, but you can look at the numbers don't lie. If you guys are concerned about anything that has taken place with your loved one on a medical transportation trip, do get in touch with Medicaid directly. Call Medicaid Answering Services. Do not complain at these corporations. They don't care. Okay. Complain at Medicaid. That's going to reduce and diminish that corporation's business. This is what I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. If I did not see, because it bothered me, if I didn't, and usually anything can bother me, and I still won't take the time to say anything to you guys, because when I come to y'all with love and light. I do, I come to y'all with futuristic energy. Okay, I come to y'all with an energy that you can use to navigate into the future. Why? Because I'm psychic. Why? Because I'm clairvoyant. Why? Because I'm the truth. Okay, so I generally will keep away from you guys anything that I deem to be cruddy and only offer to you that of which God graces me with to grace you with. If you have not done so, please like this video. Go click on my icon that you see right there. Go to my page, okay? Subscribe. Hit that bell notification. You will see me when I come on. And you guys know I don't come on that much. But if I come on to open up my mouth and say something, then it must be important. Okay, so stay tuned. If you see my notification pop up in your on your phone, I usually will describe it good enough for you to know what I'm on here talking about. So, you could choose to come on or not come. But just know, if you come here, okay, make sure you keep your comments clean, man. And just know, if I got something to say and I have to come on to say it, I have the voice, I have the ability, and I have the the stretch all the way across the country, outside the country. And my voice reached very far. And if you have a problem, your comment will reach very far. Do you understand? If your comment will reach very far, it will reach very far. That's all you need to know. Your comments, when you come on and you got positivity, something to add on and add to, I promise you, your positivity will be reflected across the world. Trust me, that's how far my arms reach on this social media site right here. Okay? If you guys need me, you know how to do it. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys again soon. Until next time, if you need me, go to my channel. You can find me. Peace.